Hi guys, I know it's been a minute since I've posted or did anything on here. Um, but I wanted to kind of do a video that's really kind of personal to me. And so I'm doing a video with the tools and kind of the stuff that's helped me as a dungeon master or game master who unfortunately has multiple sclerosis. And those who know about multiple sclerosis know that it is a neurological autoimmune disease where my body, my immune system, um, is attacking what's called the myelin sheath. Basically, Cliff Note version is this outer shell on protective shell on everybody's nerves, um, is being attacked by my immune system. And so, just like this computer cord, once it goes and is worn down, the wiring in there is exposed and it doesn't work properly. So, I've had this for a while now, and it affects different things. It's known as a snowflake disease because no two um, cases are exactly the same because it's it's your nervous system. Your nervous system is your superhighway that tells your brain, okay, this is what's going on, and your brain's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. So, for example, it's what causes my hand to be able to go up, or me to be able to talk, or see, or hear, and that kind of stuff. So it affects people differently. The form I have is called R&R, or it's the remit and relapse form. So basically, I'll be good with my symptoms kind of still being there a bit, but it's pretty decent, and then it shoots up and I have these flares, and then I kind of plateau and then get a little bit better. So one day I might need to use my cane. The other day I can walk perfectly fine. It's one of those diseases that just is kind of random and crazy. It's kind of the best way to describe it. So because of my multiple sclerosis, sorry for rambling, my games, have suffered a bit in the past as well as currently, because some symptoms I'm experiencing, mainly fatigue, brain fog, and headache, like severe, like not your normal headache, but like MS headaches are pretty bad. So, because of that, my games have suffered in the past. We have left the state of Florida about going on 2 years ago because my multiple sclerosis, the heat was affecting it. And then it's kind of flaring up the last few months, due to, some stress factors, that's going on, or went on, should I say. Unfortunately, in October, my older sister passed away, and stress can affect that. So we believe that's what's going on, is I'm having a minor flare-up from stress type thing. So my games, I took a hiatus on. So with the new year, I'm looking forward to getting back into doing some games. Sorry if my cat busses in here. He's trying to come in here. Today I'm going to go over some tools and tricks that I use to help me out as a dungeon master. Most of the time, when it comes to me canceling on my games, like I said, this is going to be a very personal video, so I do apologize for some of the ramblingness. But a lot of the times when I have to cancel a game, it's because it's been building up, and because of fatigue or some of my other symptoms that I experience. I don't get time to do a lot of prep work, and I don't get to do a lot of setting up and getting ready for the game and all. So a lot of these tools will help with that, especially the gifts that my two sister-in-laws gave me for Christmas. And when we get to those parts, I'll explain more why those gifts really are changing my games for the better. Because of this, I'm going to be able to go and prep easily or more easily for my games. But a lot of this is some really great tools for improv type things and on the spot type things. Because as DMs and GMs, we all know that that's a big part of being a dungeon master, being able to go and prepare on the fly type thing. And with brain fog, your improvisational skills and on the spot type things can be hindered because of the brain fog from multiple sclerosis. So I'm going to go over a few tools of that and a few tools that I use when I am prepping, as well as my new thing that I'm really excited for. And so let's start with the top. So the number one thing that really has helped, not just recently, but the past few years, especially when my MS was really bad, is like roll charts. And I know people are like, oh, okay, yeah, we know about roll charts. But they really made a difference, because there was sometimes I could just run the game just off of the roll charts. Because, my players wanted to explore and do stuff that I might not have been prepped for. But with these specific roll charts that I'm going to be listing off and give credit to, they made it where my players didn't suffer as much. They really enjoyed and seemed to enjoy their times in the games. So, as most of you know, you can get roll charts from DM and GM books, random adventures, campaigns, old magazines online. But there's a couple books that really I want to give credit to, because these particular books is what saved my game. So my players really do like to be in cities a lot. So I want to give credit to, and I do apologize if I mispronounce any of these names. Again, MS affects speech. But I want to give credit to James Embry, Embry, for his City Builder 3rd edition for Raven of the Scythe RPG game. Again, if I'm mispronouncing things, I do apologize. But that book literally made it so simple, where one night I could sit down and I could create an entire village town for my players to explore, and it's made it where they can explore for hours on end, and I was able to just make everything lay out so smoothly. Like I said, it did take one full night of prep work to do everything, but the roll charts and how that book is, it will help you create a city or a town pretty easily, and I highly recommend it. Like I said, this is targeted, and I'm speaking about multiple sclerosis in particular, but realistically, these resources are great for anyone. Yeah, that this book, even when my MS is going to be great, even if I have something in mind, I will now always use this book to create my towns and cities. All right, so to help with kind of coming up with different things, and I use this kind of hand in hand with the City Builder, and is a book that is random charts that was from thedicegeeks.com. I don't have the name of the in particular creator of this one, but I do want to give credit. It's from thedicegeeks.com, and it is the Fantasy Rumors and Odd Jobs Random Tables. This is really great, especially if your players do, like mine, like to be in cities. You can use this to make on the fly just random things, and it really allows your games to be sandboxy, so the players feel like their choices and decisions matter. I don't like typically playing railroad style. I'm very much a sandbox DM, so I enjoyed that. This other one that I have that I use in dungeons and different situations and stuff is a great tool to add a little flair to your game, to kind of change it up, and that is DM Johnny's, or Dungeon Master Johnny's, puzzle system. You can find him on YouTube under DM Johnny, but he has an amazing puzzle system that you can buy from him, and it's so helpful, very entertaining to, just create the stuff that you can create, when you're doing your prep. It's a really cool system. Again, another really great one to use even when you don't have MS, or if I have a really great day and my MS symptoms aren't that bad. I will forever be using this. And then the biggest, mind, blowing tool, okay, that I have to give a huge credit for, give credit to them for, because this really saved my game years ago, is a book by Matt Davis called The Great Book of Random Tables. This book is nothing but roll charts from, names to pages of just book titles, ingredient titles, things you can find in a store, things you can do, different food items, different potion items, things you can find, in different types of dungeons, different types of shops, encounter type things, things you can find off of dead, enemies, to, different organization and guilds, to restaurant type or tavern type names for fantasy games. It's such a great tool. And when I say that I would run my games just from roll charts, this book, I'm telling you, especially those who have multiple sclerosis and can't think on the fly because their brain fog is just off the charts, get this book, because it is absolutely amazing. I can't talk highly enough of it. I use it in every single one of my games. Okay, it is so helpful. Even those who don't have neurological diseases that are DMs and stuff, this book, I highly recommend it. So again, Matt Daves, it's Daves, not, I might have said Davidson, but it's Matt Daves, Davids. Thank you so much for coming up with this book. It is so helpful. A few other things that I use. So as you can see on my channel, my mother-in-law and I made my DM screen. I love it. And so, I don't really use the official Dungeons and Dragons DM screens for behind it. So for my go-to for when I'm playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the 2014 edition, that's the one we play. The screen I use is the screen from theforgottenadventures.com. So Their 5th edition 2014 version is the screen that I use. And I know that one has, I think, like 5 panels on it, but my screen, you can make it where it has 4 or 5. But even on times that I don't use my screen, I have it in my binder that I will use during encounters. Now, I know there's that big, do I use DM screens and why do I use it? My players know, even when I use my DM screen, I roll in front of my screen in live, in-person games. I never roll behind the screen. My players know I will always roll in front of them. The roll is the roll type thing. That's just how I play my games. My screen is mainly to hide my notes, hide my minis, and for my notes, for my DM screens. Because with multiple sclerosis, your memory is very much affected by it. And so with brain fog, it just makes it easier. So I always run with a screen, whether it's in my notebook or if it is for an in-person game, I use it on my DM screens. Obviously, when we play on Roll20, I think that's called D20, not Roll20, D20 I think it is, that online form, you know what I'm saying. I won't always use the physical screen because I don't need it, but I will have the sheets for it laid out where I can go and see it and have those notes access. Now, here's one that I use for my brain fog days, and I'm getting better at using them to make my descriptions a lot better. I know with MS, you could get just mentally fatigued pretty easily, and because of that, some of my descriptions and combat and stuff isn't like what it used to be, like 10, 15 years ago. So these 2 next resources is what I use. I use from Trevor Scott, 300 descriptive adjectives for dungeons and items. That's super helpful. It really is. As well as the other chart that I use, which helps greatly improve the excitement and the imagery, like the mental imagery for my combat, is this thing called Better Combat Descriptions chart. It was originally done by O_high_mark_ on Reddit. That's the one who originally came up with it, and then it was edited and redesigned by Weston at arcaneanthems.com. So I want to give them credit because they help bring life back into my games when I descript. So with those I've been using for a few years now. They've really helped me out. So the next thing that I'm going into is something that I got for Christmas, or some things I got for Christmas. And I use them with some stuff I already had. So I'm going to start out with the basics. So I know the fad right now is with unique dice, and metal dice are becoming more and more available. And so a few years ago, my sister-in-law got me like a silver-ish looking one. I love it. Oh, my cat just busted in, so I do apologize for that. I love these dice, and I know a lot of people think it's just because they're cool and stuff, but with multiple sclerosis, your hands can be affected by it. Anyone who knew me when I worked in the stores for the company I worked for know that I could pick up hot things and not be affected by it because I can't feel it. I mean, yeah, there's the burn risk, but I don't feel it. And, one of the best like things about D&D is rolling those dice and the feeling of those dice in your hands. Well, I know, but with the plastic ones, it's like I don't get the same feeling. And I know in general, when you don't have things that cause like a neuropathy like issue in your hands, you can still feel the distinct difference between the metal and this. But in particular with the metal ones, the edges are a bit more sharper and crisper, but the temperature, the coldness is something kind of, I know it's going to sound weird, but refreshing because I can feel something in my hands. So I prefer now to use my metal dice over my plastic ones. And I know we all have our mountains and, treasure hoards of the plastic ones, but I really do like the metal ones. Now, because I use the metal ones like all the time, we know in role-playing games and D&D in particular, there's a lot of times you gotta roll multiples. Well, the problem is when I would roll multiples, like a 2d4 type situation, I would have to roll plastic and metal, and it felt weird in my hands because it was like I could feel one, but the other one not so much, and I didn't like how it felt. And my one sister-in-law got me another set of the metal ones, and I cannot tell you, the feel of it is truly amazing because I can feel them in my hands. I can feel, when I have to roll 2d4, I can feel them in my hands. And I know people, again, are like, yeah, but, it's just dice. But there's been times I have literally dropped the dice and didn't feel it fall out of my hands. These I can feel. Between the temperature and the more of the sharpness to it, I can feel them. So that's a big thing. So I recommend getting the metal dice. 2 sets if you can afford it. So I've had for years and years the awesome Rory story telling cubes, and I love them. I use them. They help me with my D&D games to come up with some plots, storylines, personality traits, and all. So the next thing that I made, and I made it, is I made a 4-in-1 dice. I took one of my plastic dice, and I know what I said about, like, I can't feel it, but I'm not gonna go and take my good, metal dice and put tape around it. I put painter's tape or masking tape on here, and there are 4 symbols on here. There is symbols on there for plus or minus for bonuses. Okay. A yes, no on here, a directional, okay, and weather. So on here at any given point, if I don't know something or a player asks me a question and I'm not fully sure of the answer and it's a yes, no, I can roll this and it pops up yes. Boom, there's the answer. And then, directions, roll it. Okay, the orgs go this way. So are you going to follow it type thing? You guys find a magical item, sword, and it gives you a plus benefit versus a curse one, which gives a negative. Weather, it's on here. It's a hot, sunny summer day, just add, that element to outside, and all. So I made one of these, and then I'm like, man, I would love to make more of these kind of dice where there's different stuff on them. So my other sister-in-law for Christmas got me a 12 set of these wooden dice. Okay. And the dice, what I did is I made little shorthand kind of either letters or 2-letter descriptors on here to describe what it is. So for example, this is my trap one. So I have T on here. I have R and A, so trap. So I know which dice by the corners. And then there's different ones. So, like, for example, on here it has an R, so it's like a rolling type trap. There's an S on here. Okay. So this is, something swinging, spraying type thing. I have an F, a fire, and then I have like SD, which is like stone dropping or a boulder or something dropping down. So it describes different ones, different types of traps. And then I have one for treasure. I have one for different types of spells. So, has radiant on here, lightning, thunder, fire, water, earth type ones. So it's just different ones. There's one for the NE is like the necrotic type magic. I have one for different ones for like smells. Going back to description, I got dice for smells. I got one for sounds. I did one for weapons, armor, landscapes. I did one for general items is another good one that I really like. So, for the general items, I have torches. I have a bedroll. I have oil flask on here. I have food and drink items. Just different things on here. And then I have different types of encounters. I have different like adventures going on with this. So for the adventure one, I have one where it's like a random monster, an invasion. I have on here a kidnapping item missing, and then random, locations. So as they're walking around in the world exploring, they come across like a cave, random monster. So yeah, there's different ones in there. And then I have a random monster chart that has like the generics. It has humanoids on there. It has like odd or weird monsters, so that's like the gelatinous cubes and stuff like that. It has beasts, so like minotaurs type things, and then it's got devils or demon type ones, and there's different classes. And so I made a set of 12 of these. Okay. And so I have them that I can roll with each other. So I can roll, for example, there's an encounter with random monsters and smells and sounds, and I'm rolling a trap one, and I'm going to roll the armor and weapon one. So not only did I just come up with a monster, I also came out basically with a full encounter for this. Like it makes it where I can on the fly make these rolls. And like I said, I just took these wooden dice and I made it. And it's, last night I spent hours just rolling up little, monsters and rooms and encounters and adventures just from these dice rolls. And it helped out tremendously, especially with the story cubes, with this, and then this dice. I mean, it just worked. Roll the monster one with a D4, and now you know how many monsters are in the room type thing. Or, you roll a treasure, you got a magical weapon. Does it do plus or minus? It does minus. Okay, roll D4 to determine how it does it. So, these dice I cannot recommend enough to just get a set of these blank dice and make them. Like I said, I made a set of 12 different dice, with each one having 6-ish different things on there. I say 6-ish because like there's one, like for example, for the spells, I have lightning and thunder on one. And then for like the one that is sounds, I have laughing and moaning on the same one type thing. I have food and drink on the general items on the same one. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the full list of what each dice has, let me know and I could drop it in the comments. And then the other resources is just I use a lot of online maps or maps from old magazines or different resource books. I will take a pre-made adventure, take the map out of it, sometimes change it up, and boom, I got my map already. Now, here's one, and I'm sorry about long, rambling videos, but the next one is, I think, another key mind altering that some people do not use enough, and that's the players. Feeding off of the players and truly listening to what the players are saying is super key. So I feed off of their ideas all the time. And I know that some DMs get fixated on, well, this is my game and my adventure and all. Whereas I tend to view it as our game. And so I will go and listen to the players and, as they're discussing, this shop owner that they think might be some kind of mastermind, or someone doing the black market type thing, when in reality I just thought he would be just a store clerk. Well, they seem to be interested in this now new plot, so let's go and explore it. And so I'll run off of that. Locations and worlds, like just hearing them talk about, oh, wouldn't it be cool to explore this kind of place? That banter chatter before the game starts or in between breaks of getting food and stuff. I listen to that, make a notation, and I put those droplets in there. Items, okay? They will go and be like, hey, I want to go to a shop that has this. And I will go, and depending on how crazy and ridiculous it is or whatnot, I will go and make sure that those spots are somewhere. If this shop doesn't have it, he knows where you can go find it. You might have to go work for it, but you find it. Effects. If the players are exploring and then they're like, ooh, does this, thing does this, or, is there any magical effect? I will take sometimes those ideas, I'll put a little twist to it, but I will go for it. I mean, it will make it interesting. Like, for example, they were in this dungeon and there was this pool of green goop, and it was just originally supposed to be like a sticky goop is what was written in the pre-made adventure, because I take pre-made adventures and I pull little cool rooms or ideas and add it into my own thing. But it wasn't a part of the fact being magical. But then I'm like, well, we could do this, but let's put a little twist and spin on it. Depending on, if you have the capability to do magic, or you're a cleric or a druid and stuff, it will do different things. But if you have no capability of doing magic, it's just sticky goo. And I came up with that just based off of the thing of my players wanted to know if there was a magical effect to this group. Originally, no, there wasn't. But their excitement of, ooh, tell me there's some magical, because how I described the green glowingness of the group, I just rolled with it. They had to go and work to find out what it was. But yeah, originally it didn't have any magical capabilities. But them talking excitement, wanting to find out, made it where, okay, well, how can I make this fun, unique, and rememberable? Okay, this is what it does. So if it's a cleric or paladin, it does radiant. If it's from a druid, it does like natural, like earthy type damage. So yeah, it's interesting. And so I take a lot from my players. Sometimes they don't realize it. Most times they don't realize it. But yeah, what they input definitely can affect the game. So I recommend listening to those players and their ideas. So I know this video is long enough. It's almost 35 minutes. Well, it is 35 minutes now. But I just wanted to share these little tidbits and ideas. Again, if you want the full list of what each dice means for these, again, I cannot stress like how awesome these are. I will put it in my little comment section. Okay, so yeah, these are the tools and the tricks that allow me, as someone who has multiple sclerosis, to run my games. So I will talk to you later.